continued to pay for California's electricity. And what I mean by that is that the agreement, NAFTA was great, wasn't it? The agreement whereby we were to provide some offsetting of our electric power to California has not only been ongoing well past the original 20-year contract, the bill has never been paid by California because they can't afford it. Yeah. Now, BC Hydro, and we're getting back to this part here where I've said that in the past BC Hydro has made me curse at them a couple of times. To their own customers in British Columbia, it's the same thing. If you don't pay your electric bill, they cut you off. They don't even have a deal like I think in the States here, certain utilities can't cut you off if it's winter time or something. Kate mentioned something about that. It's somewhere between November and March or something. I don't know. But apparently it's federal law. They can't cut you off of these services between certain months of the year. Well, in Canada, we don't have that. No, we just don't. You don't pay your bill, you get cut off. Doesn't matter what time of year it is. But here's the difference. In Canada, we don't pay for water. No. I guess because of the infrastructure of the hydroelectric company, and the dams and the rivers, I guess that kind of is an offshoot of it. Water is just provided, and the infrastructure for the water is handled by the local city, municipal, and provincial authorities there, as far as, the piping and all of that good stuff to get it to your homes. But everybody's got it, and they don't pay for it. And, to my experience of 45 years now, California doesn't pay for their electricity from BC Hydro. I've always asked this question since I was a little duffer. Why the heck aren't they being cut off? Good question. But now, let's fast forward now to Chris coming to America. Yes, when I come to America, I find many great things. One great thing I find, we have to pay for water here. But here's the difference. The water here, specifically in Pennsylvania, specifically at our house in the Poconos, yes, I'm actually speaking from experience firsthand, not just going off on what somebody says. I have found myself, this water is cloudy, it's wrought with chemicals, you can smell them. Kate tells me of a time not too long ago where the Pennsylvania American Water people actually put gasoline or some kind of bloody oil product in through the lines and told everybody they couldn't drink the water for the week because they had to clean something out or something. I'm like, what? Yeah. Not even kidding here. So they're putting all these toxins through the water, and, me being kind of the inquisitive guy I am, I'm like, where does the water come from around here? Well, guess where it comes from, folks? It comes from the fricking Delaware. Yes, that famous river that George Washington once crossed. And they drank from, because the water in the Delaware is beautiful. Absolutely. It's every bit as crystal clean and shiny mountain fresh as you can get in any subsidiary of the Columbia River. Absolutely. So, to my logic and thinking, the water here should be just as good as back home, especially because we have to pay for it. Well, that is not the case. The water is cloudy. The water is stinky. The water feels, looks, smells, and tastes like chemicals. In fact, when we're up at the Pocono House, we don't even use Pennsylvania's American water to make coffee, because when you do that to the coffee maker, it goes through the coffee maker, and your coffee tastes like all kinds of wrong, and it's just a bad thing. We use bottled water for the coffee maker. We do. And luckily, we have that to fall back on as Pennsylvanians. That's great. But the problem, of course, is the exorbitant fees with the Pennsylvania American Water Company, the trumped-up costs. I mean, they say that on their own website, they say, and it's right there, PennsylvaniaAmericanWater.com, go check it out for yourself. They say right on their website, what do they say? They say that they provide Pennsylvanians with good, healthy, clean water for a penny a gallon. Okay, well, Crash did some quick math on that. A penny a gallon. And let's see, a penny a gallon. And the average household, they say, their numbers, is 4,200 gallons a month. It's the average household, penny a gallon, 4,200 gallons. That's $42. How come our bill's $120 and we're not there? How come this other lady's is $106 and she's only there, weekends and evenings? How come and $2,000 for a meter now? And it just adds up and adds up. And of course, if you don't pay it, or if you have a dispute about something like, why are you dinging me $2,000 for a meter? Or how can I possibly have used 88,000 gallons of water in a month, you drooling morons? And the answer is, well, you need to prove to us that you didn't use it. No, I'm sorry, PAW. The onus is on you as the company to prove that you supplied it. It's a two-way street in any business transaction whatsoever. So that's why they have the PUC, right? Well, you'd think. But I did some research into that, too. My assumption originally was that the PUC was a government-run watchdog service to overwatch all these companies providing utilities to customers and basically lay the smackdown on them when things go wrong. Well, in all my research over the last week or so on this, I have found one instance, finally, where the PUC has finally levied a fine, a penalty, a punitive penalty against Pennsylvania American Water for a complaint. I found one. And I might stress and underscore the word one, because there aren't any others. I can go through the Vancouver Sun's archives, and I can come up with countless times that BC Hydro was hit with fines from the government watchdog service there for when they breached some terms of an agreement with a customer or another client, or if they did anything wrong. These guys are on it, and it's reported on, and it's public record, and the list goes on. Here, nothing. I used every keyword I could think of. I used the best search engines on the swankiest computer. I'm not even kidding here. And I found one instance. Yes, where they actually got fined. So I'm thinking to myself, yes, they got fined. The PUC fined them. Let me check this out. So I go and read it. Here it is. The Pennsylvania American Water fined by the PUC. The State Public Utility Commission on Thursday approved a... Here we go. Are you ready for the dollar amount? I should get a drum timpani, except after I tell you the amount, you're going to hear a comedic drum fill. Here it is. They imposed a $2,250 civil penalty against Pennsylvania American Water following a customer complaint. $2,250. Yeah. The complaint was filed with the commission, alleged that the water company, which serves much of the West Shore and Cumberland counties, failed to maintain its facilities and service equipment when discontinuing service at a rental unit located in Lawrence County. Crash says. So I read on. On January 15th, 2009, a rental tenant contacted the water company discontinuing the water service to the property. On January 19th, a mere 4 days later, the company obtained an actual meter reading and shut off service to the subject property at the curb stop. Seems innocent enough, doesn't it? However, a month after that, more than 200,000 gallons of water flowed through the meter at the property. The additional gallons of water caused damage to the rental unit. The commission found that Pennsylvania American failed to repair its facilities and properly discontinue service despite knowing about the extraordinary water flows into the subject property while the property was listed as vacant. The commission also found that the company failed to investigate the loss of a large volume of water from its reserves. Yeah. Okay. So, for shutting off service wrong, letting more than 200,000 gallons of water flowing through the rental property, the damage to the building, and the loss of the water, they get dinged $2,200? You know, no lawsuit, no paying for damages, no any kind of not even any kind of reasonable, like what is that? $2,250. That sounds to me like 3 months, one customer's bill. But that's what the PUC done them. So I did some more digging, because you all know me. When something sounds stinky, I start digging, don't I? And I did dig. And you know what I found? Well, I found out that Pennsylvania American Water and its holding companies, American Water, are owned, you guessed it, privately by really rich private people. Yes, they are. And do you know, because I've done the research, gang, I've gone into their annual reports for the last 6 years. And you know what I can tell you? Honestly, oh, and by the way, I need to put the disclaimer here that my opinions in no way reflect those of HTLA Radio 1, New York, because, yeah, I'm going to say it, they're fudging their books. I have looked at their year-end financial statements. I have looked at their annual reports. The numbers, quite simply, do not add up. They don't. Because if you equate that 1 penny per gallon of consumption on their website, which they proudly display on that front page, you can quickly do the math. You can quickly understand that if the average house is 4,200 gallons, nobody would ever receive a bill for a month of usage for 88,000, would they? No, it wouldn't happen. You wouldn't have a company that's grubbing for money from a customer who's only paying $20 a month because that's all their consumption is, because they've decided to go eco and green, and threaten them with disconnection unless their bill goes up, which is essentially what we talked about in the first segment, isn't it? You wouldn't have a company that has an Overwatch committee, a watchdog in the PUC, fine them $2,200 for something that clearly is $1 million in damage any way you slice it. Never mind. Let's talk about that 200,000 gallons that they claim to have lost. Because you got to understand, they pay, they pay the state for the amount of river in the Delaware that they're allowed to draw from, and the amounts of gallons per year that they're allowed to draw from. There is a limit there, and they're billed for that. And let me tell you, what they're paying for that joyous, clean, clear, wonderful water to come to them, only for them to put it through their system, oil it up, chemical it up, throw in who the hell knows what in there, and feed it off to people like you and me. They're making ridiculous money. Well, according to their annual reports, they're operating at a loss most years. Yes, they are. It's tough times. It's hard. It's terrible. But yet, investor dividends are up almost every year. In fact, between 2011 and 2010, they more than doubled. Oh, yes, they did. So where do you get those dividend numbers from? So I went down, and I went down through all of their financials, and I looked meticulously, because I used to be a business consultant back in the day. Yeah, so I kind of know how to look at those financial records and those statements and those flow charts and those spreadsheets. And I went through, and it's wrong. It's wrong. I challenge any accountant, financial analyst, anybody with a calculator and can add 2 plus 2. I dare you to go into their financial records for those last 6 years and tell me I'm wrong, because those numbers do not work. They don't work with the standard accepted business formulas. They're operating at a 38% labor cost. 38%. That's ridiculous. No wonder they're not making any money. Oh, wait. Can't have dividends without making money. You just can't. And that kind of takes me to the next little part that we're going to come to now, just before we take this next commercial break. Yes, there we go. Commercial break coming up, where we're going to kind of delve into the labor side of this joyous, lovely, happy company here on Crash Talk today. So stick with me for 2 more minutes or so. We'll get through those and get back to tearing the PAW a new one.
When your cable company keeps you on hold, you get angry. When you get angry,